Have you ever felt tired for no reason, less motivated, or even weaker than you used to be? Even though you're still young, it's not just in your head. What you don't see is that there are silent habits, choices, and daily traps that are lowering your testosterone and slowly killing the man you're supposed to become. Most men don't realize it until it's too late. That's why today we're uncovering silent testosterone killers that are ruining men's lives every single day. If you care about your energy, your drive, and your future, this is something you can't ignore. Before we dive in, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because here at AlphaClarity Zero, we're cutting through the noise and showing men the truth about becoming stronger, sharper, and more disciplined. You probably don't think twice about that sweetened coffee in the morning, the energy drink before the gym, or the late-night snack that keeps you awake scrolling on your phone. But here's the truth. Sugar is one of the most silent testosterone killers in a man's life. It doesn't just spike your energy and crash it later. It directly lowers your testosterone production, tricking your body into thinking it doesn't need to create as much of the very hormone that makes you feel alive and driven. When you consume sugar, your blood glucose levels shoot up, forcing your body to release insulin. High insulin over time doesn't just increase fat storage, it also interferes with testosterone production in the testes. In fact, even a single high sugar meal can reduce testosterone levels within just a few hours. Imagine that. One donut, one soda, and your body's ability to produce testosterone is suppressed almost instantly. In a controlled study conducted by the American Diabetes Association, researchers tested young men after they consumed 75 grams of sugar, roughly the equivalent of a large soda. Within just 2 hours, their testosterone levels dropped by 25% and stayed suppressed for hours afterward. These weren't older men or people with medical issues. These were healthy young males. And one sugary drink was enough to knock down their masculinity at a hormonal level. The solution isn't to live like a monk and never touch sugar again, but to recognize how dangerous the habit becomes when it's daily. Start by cutting out sodas, flavored energy drinks, and late-night sweet snacks. Replace them with water, black coffee, or even fruit for natural sugar that doesn't destroy your hormones. Remember, it's not about avoiding pleasure, it's about avoiding the silent traps designed to weaken you. And speaking of silent traps, the next testosterone killer hides not in what you drink, but in how you live your day-to-day life. One habit every modern man is guilty of. Stress is something every man faces, but when it becomes a constant state, it quietly destroys your testosterone. When your body is under pressure, it releases a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol and testosterone are like rivals in the same system. When one goes up, the other goes down. That means the more time you spend in a state of stress, whether from work deadlines, financial pressure, or even toxic relationships, the more your testosterone production gets pushed down, leaving you drained and unfocused. What makes this worse is that most men ignore the signs. You tell yourself you're just tired, or that you'll handle it later while your body is already paying the price. A study from Rockefeller University found that men under constant stress had testosterone levels up to 40% lower than those with controlled stress environments. This isn't just mental burnout. This is your body physically shutting down the very hormone that drives muscle growth, confidence, and even sexual health. Breaking this cycle starts with how you manage your daily battles. Simple practices like setting boundaries with work, reducing late-night screen time, and carving out moments of silence can lower cortisol and allow testosterone to rise naturally. It's not about eliminating stress completely then. That's impossible, Megillah. But about not letting stress own you. We've uncovered just a few of the silent killers that strip men of their strength without them even realizing. From processed sugar that lowers testosterone within hours, to chronic stress that slowly rewires your body to stay weak. These aren't small issues. They're everyday traps that steal your energy, your drive, and your identity as a man. But here's the truth. Catching these killers early is what separates men who fade into mediocrity from those who take control of their lives. You're not powerless. By cutting back on sugar, managing stress before it manages you, and staying alert to the habits that weaken you, you take back your edge. Your testosterone isn't just a number. It's your vitality, your confidence, Your fire to keep moving forward. If this video spoke to you, share it with another man who needs to hear it. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and expect more raw, no-fluff clarity on how to protect and build yourself as a man. Because here at Alpha Clarity Zero, we believe a man without clarity is a man without direction. And the question is, will you let these killers own you, or will you rise and own your life?